So let's welcome in Raiders quarterback Derek Carr. And Derek, I want to first start off by saying congratulations on baby number 3. That's exciting.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. That is obviously more exciting than anything football can do. So, yes.
Do we know if it's a boy or a girl yet?
We do not know yet, but we are taking any names. Anyone wants to throw names at us, we just want to see what they come up with. So we are accepting nominations.
But you have 2 boys right now. So, I mean, you want a healthy baby, but clearly if you have a girl, you won't be mad, right?
Yeah, exactly. I got 2 boys right now, so chances are it'll be another one. But if we have a girl, that would be good for my wife's heart. So that would be good, so that she would have somebody to go get their nails done with.
Well, speaking of your wife, you spilled the beans to the media after Sunday's win that you guys were having your 3rd child, and you didn't consult her before you did it. When she found out that you spilled the beans, what was that like?
Well, my initial thought was, what did you just do? Then my second thought was I was going to end up on the injury report randomly on Wednesday. But I made it out of my house, so I was okay with it. But no, we're both excited. It's a fun time.
First off, I want to get back to this name because I've been sitting over here thinking, and I'm thinking James DeAndre Carr sounds pretty good, man. You know what I'm saying? That's just
little dingo.
My humble opinion. You know what I'm saying? That sounds really legit right there, man. So yeah, just keep that in mind, man.
I appreciate it. Hey, we're taking all the nominations, so I appreciate it.
You know what I mean? That rhymed and everything together. It's easy for the teachers and people to pronounce. You know what I mean? James DeAndre Carr. You know.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, hey, I appreciate it.
So, Derek, I've known James for over 20 years.
Well, man.
I know you've known him for quite a long time. When you first met him, what was your initial reaction? Because I think you guys first met in Fresno, right?
Yep. We first met in Fresno. So it's got to be close to, we're coming up on 10 years now. And that's like a big anniversary for us. So we're excited about that.
You know what I'm saying?
So the first thing I thought is, wow, that's what receivers look like in the NFL. I need to lift more. And that was my first thought. And then when I saw him run routes and catch the ball, I was like, I am going to need to step my game up if I want to be throwing to guys like that. So it was more of an encouragement. James didn't even know he did it, but he encouraged me to hit the weight room more, and I thank you for that.
Nice.
Hey, man, you know, I appreciate it, man. I'm good.
Is there any funny story, though, that you could share from maybe the days back when you were throwing to him at Fresno, or even that 2014 season that I know you want to put behind you?
I don't know. I don't want to put that behind me at all, because that was some of the moments. And so the fact that we got to play together, I remember getting drafted, and he texted me, come on out to Oakland. The day of the second round, he texted me before it even happened. Like he made the pick. He said, come on out to Oakland, bro. And it ended up happening. And I got to end up starting, and I tried to throw him the ball every play if I could. And so I know that he enjoyed it. He had quite a few touchdowns, and it was fun for us. But I don't have anything embarrassing except the fact that the night that if I'm not mistaken, the night that we won our first game was the night that he paid me my $2 that we bet on the Fresno State San Jose State game. So I think that was a sign of good things to come.
Man, you know, listen, when I first met DC, it's crazy too, and he didn't know it neither. It's crazy how, you know, I taught him something, and you know what I mean, he taught me a little something too. But when I first seen DC, I had kind of looked at the receiver coach at Fresno State at the time, Keith Williams, like, man, this kid can throw the ball. And I only played in the NFL at that time with 2 dudes, and that was Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. And I'm like, man, this kid can throw the ball, man. You know what I mean? Like, the receivers at Fresno State don't even know how blessed they are to have a quarterback like this throwing the ball. And then when he came to the league, he got drafted, and all Dennis Allen kept saying was, Matt Schaub is our starter. Matt Schaub is our starter. And every time he came out to practice, I see this young kid wearing number 4, slinging the ball. And I'll never forget, me and Charles were sitting in the back like, we've seen these throws before. And we played with some special dudes. And they put him out there against the Seattle Seahawks, the Legion of Boom. Didn't have no starting receivers out there. And we all know he gashed them up. And I'll never forget, everybody on the sideline was like, man, they better get him out or it's going to be some quarterback controversy. And they left him in. And Coach came in at me that next morning and said, this is the hardest decision I had to make. And I remember DC always sat in the front because, he was a student of the game. He was very professional. Guys like me, JJ and Wood, we sat in the back. So Coach got up there like, biggest decision I had to make. We like, no, it's not. We already knew what was coming. No, it's not. Derek Carr is the starter, and the rest is history. So I knew he was going to be special, man. That's why I said, a while back, he's going to throw for 5,000 yards, and he on pace.
You're on pace for 5,000 yards right now, and he is the first one to call you baby A-Rod.
Yes, he did. He said that within the first couple of years that I knew him, and I appreciate you putting that pressure on me. But again,
always,
I mean, the love is real between us. So
if it's anybody I do know that ball, if it's anybody I know that balls out under pressure, it's you. So a little pressure it helps you out a little bit.
Well, speaking of,
I'm not gonna lie. So sorry, Fallon, but my favorite moment that I have with James not only was his one-handed catch in my first game amazing, because I told him in the huddle, I said, James, it's not really going well for me right now. I'm going to just throw this ball up to you no matter what. He caught it. The best catch I've ever seen, one-handed, 2 feet in. But he also caught I signaled a route as a rookie. I changed the play, signaled a route, and he caught my first fourth quarter comeback win. And then, so it was like the coolest thing ever for me to win a game in the fourth quarter because of Kobe Bryant's my favorite ever. So whenever I got to do that, I'll never forget James for the rest of my life for more reasons than that. But of course, for
that's what I'm saying. See, that's why you see now that you said that. Now, I mean, it's a given that your son's name has to be James DeAndre Carr. But go ahead, Fallon.
Well, speaking of fourth quarter comebacks, you guys had one obviously this past weekend against the Browns. It was looking like the Raiders were about to drop to 0-4, and then you got a couple calls your way. You were able to come from behind and get the W in overtime. Did you feel like it was 2016 all over again? Because I remember 7 fourth quarter comebacks in 2016, and you knew when you had the ball in the fourth quarter, you were going to find a way to win the football game. And obviously the first 3 games, it wasn't going your guys' way, but this game was different.
Yeah, absolutely. The funny part is that every time, we've been down in the fourth quarter this year and we get the ball, I'm like, oh, here we go. We got this. We're going to win this game. It's like that. I don't think that feeling loses or ever leaves anybody. I think, obviously, the more I watched Kobe and the way he finished games and things like that, there was a lot of shots that he took at the end and missed, ones you make that people love to talk about, which is, I guess, a good thing for us. So, when we got the ball in the fourth quarter and obviously it wasn't looking good and, we're about to lose at home against the Browns and it's just not looking good for us. I think the cool thing I saw in our team's eyes is the same look I saw in everybody's eyes in 2016. Not one person gave up on the sideline. Not one person thought the game was over. The defense was just like, get our offense back the ball. They're going to win it. And as soon as we scored, we said, man, our defense is going to stop it. We're going to go down there and win it. And just the belief we had in one another. I mean, it's such a fine line in this league that you have to have belief in each other. You have to have faith that you guys can both finish on both sides of the ball and special teams. And we were able to do that. And I'm glad because one win is way better than 0. I can tell you that.
Well, DC, I was at the game on Sunday, and I shot you a text after the game, and whenever we used to play with each other, I used to say, just get Boopy the ball, and y'all were 0-3, and then once Boopy steps in the building, you know what I mean, you guys find a way to win and score 40 plus points. So I'm not surprised by that. But I got a little bone to pick with you because in the off season it was a guy named Jordy Nelson who was a free agent, and I did my best selling job for the organization, for Derek Carr, for Coach Olsen, you know what I'm saying? And I haven't received a thank you card, no chocolate or nothing, like candy, you know what I'm saying? For, giving you a guy like Jordy. So, I just wanted to put that out there. Not saying you got to send something, but, I just wanted to put that out there. I don't even know if I got a thank you from you and Coach Olsen and Gruden, but it's all good.
After that 2-point conversion, I think he owes you a little something.
I definitely owe James something. I'll put that on the record. And now that it's out in the public, there's going to be something on the way. So just know that it's on the way, and very, very thankful, not for what you've done for me in getting Jordy here, but when Boobie's in the building, we just seem to be able to score points. So I appreciate that.
I'm telling you, just the swag is up, baby. I love it.
Derek, I have to ask about Marshawn Lynch. He's one of my favorite people. He's like a national treasure. Whenever he talks, everybody listens. But do you understand him when he talks? Like that Oakland swag, that Oakland lingo. You know, I'm from the Bay, but I still need a translator sometimes. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to lie either. I've had to learn what his yes and his no mean over the last 2 years. And sometimes it's drastically different than what it was the last time. And so I think that we're both on the same page now, though. He's, Marshawn is actually, he's a good friend. You know, he's someone that I text often. He'll send me a random text, things like that. But I think it took me 2 years, though, so don't get it twisted. It took me a full 2 years to really understand everything that he is saying. But once you catch on, you actually learn the things that he's one of the smartest people I've ever been around. He's actually, he may be funny and say certain things or maybe not say anything at all, but he's one of the coolest, funniest, smartest people I've ever been around. And I'm glad that we got him.
Like I said before, I was at the game this Saturday, man, and I was watching the offense, and I'm looking at Jordy, I'm looking at Martavis Bryant, I'm looking at Jared Cook, I'm looking at Amari Cooper, I'm looking at Marshawn Lynch in the backfield, Doug Martin backing him up. And I'm looking like, how do the Raiders not score 45 points every week? How explosive can this offense be, man?
Yeah, I think that we've asked ourselves the same kind of questions, and I think in the first 3 weeks, we didn't finish in the red zone like we should have. We were scoring about 20 points or 22 points, and it's like, obviously that's not enough, and we'd sit back and think like, oh man, we blew that opportunity, and you sit there and add it up like, man, that should have been another 30-something points. And so I think that obviously we got to go out there and compete, and you get what you earn in this league. So we sit there and think that we should be able to go out there and move the ball and score those kind of games and those kind of points every week. And obviously we play some good defenses that are good and can stop certain things, but at the same time, we still believe that, we should be able to go out there and score points. And that's our belief every time we get the ball, that we're going to go down and score a touchdown. And so it's a good feeling, with that, because I've been in situations where it's hard just to get a first down. And so to have the feeling of we have the faith and belief that we can score every time is kind of nice.
Derek, at the same time, I mean, you've been on, your fourth play caller now in 5 seasons?
Yeah.
And the only time you had any sort of continuity was under Bill Musgrave. 2 straight seasons, and that's it. And now you have to, take play calls from a guy like John Gruden, very complex offense. The language is something probably foreign to you that you have had to learn since this offseason. Is that the biggest challenge for you?
I think the biggest challenge obviously was at first the plays and learning how to say them and recite them. And, it doesn't matter who the coach is. There's sometimes they call it so fast where you only hear half of it. And so you got to just know what he's calling. You got to memorize it. You got to know the game plan and all those kind of things. So, I mean, that's difficult. But we're at a point now where we're hitting that good. We've hit that stride good. And now it's just getting on the same page situationally. What do you want me to do in this situation? What do you want me to do in this situation? What check do you want here? What if this is the score? What do you want this check to be? And that's something with Coach Del Rio. Him being a defensive coach, it's a completely different mindset than an offensive coach. And so it's just a learning curve that I'm getting used to and that Coach is getting used to. But I think that we've had great communication, great conversation, but this isn't something that just happens overnight. This is stuff that we have to go through some things, and we're learning. And those first 3 weeks, we really learned a lot of lessons. Even last week, situationally, we're just learning each other, and I'm learning to make sure to accomplish exactly what he wants done by the quarterback every single game. So as long as we continue to work our tails off and communicate, I believe that we're going to continue to get better as a player, a coach, and an offense.
Speaking of coaches real quick, I just want to ask you, how good is it to have Coach Olsen back in the building and leading that offense?
Oh, man, you know Ole because you were there with him. He's awesome, and he's just such a joy to be around. I can sit here and talk about how smart he is and outs and protection and coverage, and I can go on and on. But I think the coolest thing about him is how positive he is with every single player, every single day. It never gets old, and he has a great way of demanding from you, just like Coach Gruden. But they're both so positive and encourage you at the same time. So I can't say enough good things about Ole. I'm glad that he's